So we're big Luca Guadagnino fans around here. Certainly challengers in queer. We were, big champions. And now he's got After the Hunt.
It's going to be a non-spoiler review of this movie because the less you know going into it, the better. But I will say the outset, this is a movie that you should probably see with people. And if you're going to see it, have a conversation afterward as far as what's Luca trying to say here and what really happens in this movie.
Yes.
There's a lot to chew on, but we're going to try and keep it as vague as possible and just get to what works and what doesn't. So come subscribe and hang out because this is very much our kind of movie here. As Alonso mentioned, we love Luca Guadagnino films, and so we were happy to talk about this one.
You know the truth, and you won't say it because it'll make you look bad. You should be ready.
Julia Roberts stars as a philosophy professor at Yale. And just right off the bat, I am totally shocked that this takes place at Yale, like specifically Yale. It's not some fictional, highfalutin, fake Ivy League university. They say to you up front, this is Yale.
Do they have to get Yale's permission to say Yale? Because I was thinking about that too.
I just have so many questions as to why they would allow that. But
yeah, I can't imagine they signed off on this, but maybe they had no choice and they just shot it somewhere else. I don't know the details.
I don't know where they shot it, but from the very, very beginning, it says with the title card, this happened at Yale. She is this esteemed, acclaimed philosophy professor, sort of adored by her mentees and students, and fellow professors kind of view her with some awe and wonder. Among them, Andrew Garfield, who is also a professor at Yale. They are both on the tenure track, and it's a thing that create sort of a playful tension between them. And from the very beginning, it's very clear that there is way more going on with these two people than there should be. There is a flirtation, there is a familiarity that is charged and feels wrong, but like exciting for them both. She's married to Michael Stuhlbarg, who is a therapist. Once again, as in Call Me By Your Name, Michael Stuhlbarg is your stealth MVP here.
Yes.
Has incredible scenes. He can cook, but he also has some delicious kind of passive-aggressive zingers as the film goes on. Ayo Edebiri is Julia Roberts' latest favorite. And we learn early on that she plays favorites. And this is somebody who is getting her PhD in philosophy. And then something happens that kind of shatters this great connection that all these characters have with each other. I want to just leave it at that. It is very clear from the beginning that Luca is stirring the pot and trying to get you to confront everything that you think you believe about the Me Too movement, about cancel culture. He begins with the Woody Allen font in the titles.
Yeah.
From the very beginning,
the typeface is the exact same.
The typeface, and there's a jazz song playing beneath it, and it's in alphabetical order the way he does it. Like, this is not a coincidence. This is a choice.
Yeah.
And here and there, you have so many different, like, references to people or things that have been canceled or are no longer part of our current social mores. And so Julia Roberts and Chloe Sevigny go to a local bar in New Haven, and they're playing the Smiths and Morrissey. Right. And one of them comments like, is this even allowed anymore?
Can they do that?
There's a lot of indoor smoking, constant indoor smoking. Julia Roberts wears white jeans after Labor Day, which is okay if you live in Los Angeles, but not
New
so
Haven.
Much. Not New Haven, not at a place where there are like fashion laws, like
and
the East
seasons.
Coast. Right, for sure. So over and over again, he is trying to poke holes in ideas of what is appropriate and is canceling a right idea, you know? And I do feel like it's just provocative and shit stirring for the sake of. This comes from a script by Nora Garrett. This is her first produced screenplay. She's a former personal assistant and former Meta employee. And I feel like the message here feels very muddled beyond just the, intentional provocation. Like, what are we trying to say here about the way that society has evolved over the past decade or so, and about sensitivity and about looking out for each other and the words that we choose? There is a character who is transgender or non-binary, and there's a lot of like,
described as non-binary. Yeah, played by Leo Mihail from Mutt, and a terrific actor saddled with a what I would call a sandwich board role. You know, it's all about like the constant announcing of things. And it's like, oh, yeah, it's indicative of the thing that bugs me about this movie, and that it's constantly poking you. And, you know, and again, this is the same. I had a similar problem with Eddington. So if you thought that I was misguided and not loving Eddington, maybe you'll like this movie too. I'm not saying that a movie has to be like, here are the good guys and here are the bad guys. I'm saying if a movie tells you all of these people suck and everyone is terrible and no one should come out ahead, then it's like, well, yeah, I guess. But what does that tell me about like systems or human behavior or anything else except everyone sucks, shut it down? You know, that's what I was left with here.
I was left with everyone sucks now, shut it down. And changes that have occurred societally over the past decade or so are, in this film's estimation, a massive reactionary swing into one direction.
Yeah.
That's how I viewed what this was trying to say.
I guess, yeah, you know, like, but again, I think the movie's also being very clear. It's like, they're not saying that we should go back to when, you know, like nobody said anything or nobody, like women weren't taken seriously when they made reports of this kind of thing or whatever, but it's asking a lot of questions, but it's doing so in a way that just feels futile. I applaud their attempt to be contemporary and their attempt to, you know, have a framework of discussing, you know, this modern world, but I don't feel like it leaves you with anything but a sort of cold shiver of glad that ain't me, you know. I don't know. And maybe I want too much from art, or I'm expecting something different, but I did not come away from this movie feeling like it had a point and it was making it.
Yeah, art does not need to validate how we feel about the world. In fact, it shouldn't.
No,
right.
Exactly.
But this message feels kind of muddled at the same time. Like whatever, you know, troublemaking it's causing, it's like, why? To what end? We have to talk about the score. So Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross did the score, also did the music for Challengers, which we loved. It is queer. It is so abrasive. It is so annoying, and it's intentionally annoying. It intends to put you on edge. But when it becomes a distraction, then it is doing a disservice to itself. When it's taking you out of the moment because it is so incredibly annoying, I think that's not what the intention was. There's also like a metronome kind of sound design choice that he goes to over and over again, which also like signals for us to be on edge and early and often in a way that feels rather obvious. There's some
it's a William Castle move.
Is there some camera movements that I don't understand why he made them? There's a scene between Julia Roberts and Michael Stuhlbarg that is meant to be very poignant. And it's a significant scene. And rather than let us see them talking to each other, it cuts to like an overhead shot of Julia Roberts and then follows her hand down to his hand. And then it cuts to an overhead shot of Michael Stuhlbarg. And it cuts to like his hand holding her hand. I'm like, why? Why won't you let your actors act and just be in the moment? Why are you messing around? The DP this time is Malik Hassan Saeed, who shot a lot of Beyonce stuff like Lemonade and Black is King and shot some Spike Lee films. So all that craft is there. This is what's so frustrating, you know. Luca Guadagnino is a maximalist and a sensualist, and all that craft is there to put us in this setting. And just the message feels very frustrating to me.
Yeah, it's not for lack of trying. This is a movie that, if anything, has too much on its plate and too many things that it wants to address. And the cast is fine. I mean, you know, like I think Julia Roberts, we haven't really seen her play this kind of brittle academic before, and it's you know, she's having fun with that in a lot of ways. You know, although again, if you to bring up the Woody Allen comparison, and I know we've said this before for other films where there's a real skill in writing academics in a way that captures their pomposity but still makes them sound like human beings. And very often in this film, this sounds like a jokey idea of what academics talk about when they are hanging out, you know, over cocktails or whatever. And I'm like,
But the one-upmanship of it felt true.
Sure.
Right?
Yes. For the whole tenure track tension was very felt very realistic. And you're right. Michael Stuhlbarg gets all the best zingers in this movie.
Yeah.
Like I could have just watched 2 hours of him like not having it with Julia Roberts, and that would have been fine by me.
I think everyone's really good in this. I mean, Andrew Garfield gets a little over the top, but that makes sense given what's happening with his character. I liked the kind of evasive quality to Julia Roberts' character, that she seems very glamorous and very in control and very with it, but there's something roiling beneath there. And Ayo Edebiri is always good. Everyone's good in this, and the craft is there. This movie made me very angry.
Yeah. And the ending makes no sense at all. Which is all I'll say about it.
Yeah. Anyway, so curious to hear your thoughts if you see this. I know that a lot of you guys are fans of this filmmaker like we are, so let us know what you think. I'm going to say 5.5.
I'm at a 4.5. Yeah. Wow. I mean, again, I do admire everything they're attempting to do and the way they're doing it, but I really think this script is... it's kind of almost chaotic just in terms of what it wants to unleash about these characters and then how we're supposed to feel about how the world is treating them. It's like, it's sort of, it is a problem with too many variables. I'll put it that way.
Okay. Well said. After the Hunt is out there in select theaters now and going wider. So let us know if you see it.